Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch.
Welcome in, everybody. Nice to have you here with us at TPC Southwind. Second day, still preferred lie, which I've always thought, it's a fancy new name. I've always thought that was live clean and place, which a lot of people say is live clean and cheat, because you can actually put that thing almost like it's on a tee on the Zoysia. Get the perfect lie. These guys with the perfect lie, they end up at 9 under, and that's where we are right now. Yesterday, Si-Woo Kim did a Dustin Johnson on the 18th with a 168-yard perfect shot that ended up getting jarred. Today, one of our co-leaders, Denny McCarthy from Rockville, Maryland, he jarred one on 6. That's a hard hole, by the way. That's a par 5 for the members out here. Par 4 here. The guy hit an eagle. Would have been a double eagle if he was playing in my game. He jarred it on 6. He's 9 under. So is Sahith Thigala, my shock pick. By the way, I don't even know if J-Mo, John Morgan Harder, is aware of this, but if the shock pick wins, it pays double. It would lock it up for me for sure if Thigala were to win. Those two at 9 under. Emilio Grillo, he is at 8 under. Si-Woo Kim has not teed off yet. He won't tee off till 12:33. He's at 8 under. So is Jay Spawn, who is also at 8 under. He tees off at 106. Straka, 1 under for the day through 6. He's 7 under. So is John Hahn. Colin Morikawa, 3 under today. Playing the back 9 first. He's played 8 holes. He's 6 under. Projected cut at this particular moment is 1 under par. So they are lighting it up. Here's some things I learned yesterday that absolutely, positively amazed me. First off, just the FedEx logo. I never knew this until I heard Steve Sands, good friend of Greg Gaston's, who I had a chance to chat with earlier. On the air, I went home yesterday, watched the last couple of holes after watching golf here all day, and Steve Sands says, look at the FedEx logo. So I've been looking at this logo, I don't know how many years. And if you look, it's the standard FedEx with FED in purple, EX, capital EX, small x in orange, right? Purple and orange. That's what the caddy bibs have, so you can differentiate players, things of that nature. If you look at the lower part of the capital E and the X, I've never seen this all these years. Now I can't help but see it. If you look at that logo, you will see an arrow. Now I can't miss the arrow. I believe the arrow is a message, maybe a subliminal message. I think it's moving forward, FedEx moving forward. Incredible. Learned that yesterday after all these years. Learned yesterday, Tony Finau with his performance. So Tony yesterday, who's still at 6 under and does not tee off, as I mentioned a little earlier, he doesn't tee off till 12:55. Yesterday he shot a 64. That was his 8th straight round in tour play, sub 68. 68 or better. 8th straight round. Wow, what a run he is on. Incredible stuff. I also learned yesterday, if you count up all the balls since the tournament moved to TPC Southwind from Colonial, if you count all the balls hit in all the lakes by just the pros here at Southwind in PGA Tour play, so that would be FedEx St. Jude Classic. I don't think Danny Thomas Memphis Open was ever here. That would be only Colonial. But since it moved to Southwind, since UB Green and Fuzzy Zeller's course opened up, there have been we're approaching 6,000 golf balls hit into the lakes by the pros here at Southwind. A number found the aqua yesterday. So that's just amazing to me, for sure. Good crowds yesterday. A lot of them were following guys who did not play so well. The big guys who we thought would be challenging for the lead, particularly Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler, the number one player in the world, both having problems. Right now, Scottie Scheffler wouldn't make the cut. He's +1. Rory McIlroy is 1 under par. He is out. I believe he is out on the course right now. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios at the Hub. That's where we are, and I do want to remind everybody, you can take advantage of the summer clearance sale. It's happening now at Family Leisure, where you can get $2,000 off on swimming pools. Yeah, $2,000 off on swimming pools. Get installed right now. You'll be ready for 23. You might even get a few swims in right now. Plus, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, they got specials like free ladders and a whole season worth of chemicals. Nobody can offer you that kind of deal except for Family Leisure and our title sponsor, as always, Homer Skelton Hyundai. Homer Skelton Hyundai, where you will never pay more than sticker price. I promise you. A lot of dealerships take advantage of the laws of supply and demand, and there is a demand and a short supply for new cars. Some places are actually charging you $7,000 over sticker price and calling it a deal. You'll never pay more than sticker price at the corner of Craft Road, first exit in Mississippi, and Highway 78. That's Lamar in Memphis. Take it from me. That's why they retain so many customers at Homer Skelton Hyundai. It's always good to see my friends. It's an annual thing where I talk with Jack Sammons, who is the chair of this tournament. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Let me figure out which microphone you are on. Try that one.
Try that one.
How about that one?
Okay. Does that work better?
How about that one?
How about that one?
Wow. We are not doing well here at all. Let's see if that one works. Try that.
Okie doke.
Now I hear you.
Now you hear me.
Okay.
I'm doing great, Dave. This tournament is at the absolute zenith of its popularity. We've got more people coming from more states across the country to this event than we've ever had in history. I think the crowds, just based on their requests that I'm getting for tickets, we're going to have record crowds. Yesterday was a record day. We sold more sponsorships, more hospitality venues than we've ever sold, ever, by a long shot. We had a aspirational goal, a stretch goal that I thought Phil Cannon would laugh at it. I mean, there's just no way you're going to hit that number. They hit it about a month ago. So,
can you give us that number?
A month ago, the goal was $10.5 million in tickets and hospitality, and they've well exceeded that. Last year, the monetary benefit to St. Jude from this tournament was $8.6 million. It takes about $3 million a day, a little less than $3 million a day to operate the hospital. So this tournament right here in Memphis was able to fund the hospital for just 3 days.
Still something.
There's another 362 days they've got to operate, but they do an incredible job raising money around the world, because really St. Jude has become America's charity. And it's part of my job to help them become the world's charity. This broadcast, the television broadcast, is broadcast all around the world and in many languages. And again, it introduces people to FedEx and the cause of the children, where we treat the sickest kids in the world for free, and to fulfill Danny Thomas's dream that no child should die in the dawn of their life.
Correct me if I'm wrong about this. I watched the plane naming the other day.
As you like the way I landed that in there?
I don't know how you do that. That is how do you get it out is also another question I got for you.
High skill.
But I was listening to Dick Shadyac, and he was basically saying when Danny started this, the most common leukemia had an 80% death rate. Now it's an 80% survival rate.
Right.
Okay. But he also made this statement, and it goes along with what you were just talking about, that I think the next phase for St. Jude is not just domestic, but it's global. And I want to say he was saying that the newest of the leukemias where there's still a struggle. It's 30% success, 70% failure. They want to flip that too. That's the next cause. And FedEx is helping him spread that cause worldwide.
Right. It's a global frontier for children's catastrophic diseases, certainly. But when I tell you, I was in Palm Springs, I guess it was in February, for an event that St. Jude put on, and Rick Shadyac was there, and it was the week that Russia had invaded Ukraine. And he got up to welcome everyone, but he kind of had a somber tone because he then shared with us that St. Jude has a partnership with the clinic there in the Ukraine. And, you know, these children that need this care, you know, you could see the look on his face like, what are we going to do? FedEx was able to help them.
Got some kids here, right?
Got some kids here, right. And those kids are all doing well, and we're thrilled to say. So this is a journey, not a destination. It's something that's, you know, this is our 65th tournament. We've been doing this since 1958, and a lot of great men and women before me that really, you know, carved the path for this event to become what it is today. It's just mind-boggling to think that we are now in the first round of the FedEx Cup playoffs. This is the major league of golf. I'd rather have this tournament than any tournament that's out there. You've got 125 of the greatest golfers in the world, incredible media coverage, and they're fighting like crazy because they want that big money. They want 2 weeks from now to be in Atlanta at the Tour Championship and get that massive check.
It's amazing where, and you talk about guys like Joe Trebo, Dutch Akers.
Right. Vernon Bell.
Yeah, that got this thing going.
Sure.
Then the resurrection after the debacle from Stanford Financial.
Yep.
To this. I mean, when you literally, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your rear end, but this is the truth. I mean, if it hadn't been for you and really Joe DeVivo from Smith & Nephew, I'm not sure we'd be sitting here. Did you ever foresee this in those days, that this would end up being where we are in 2022?
Wolo, this has always been our dream, to be the first round of the playoffs. I didn't want to be the...
You didn't want to be WGC?
What WGC was awesome, but it was a great stepping stone to get where we are. I really didn't want to be the Tour. I don't want to be the final Sunday because they only have 30 players.
Guys, yeah.
I want to give this market the widest variety of players we can. And
next year it'll only be 70.
Next year it'll be 70.
But they say there'll still be a Pro-Am.
And it'll be the 70 best in the world. So I'm just tickled pink that we are where we are, but we wouldn't have gotten here without some very generous sponsors across the world, not just in Memphis.
Yeah.
FedEx is just given till it hurts. I mean, the people out there, not only executives, but we've got 1,500 to 1,800 volunteers, and they are here, many of them taking their vacation from FedEx to be here to support the tournament.
I want to go back to your sales, setting records. How much of that is because locally it's been embraced once again, or how much of it is because it is the first playoff stop that you are getting global guys?
Yeah, well, it's not mutually exclusive. I think the local market has stepped up. I mean, the staff here has done an incredible job. Of course, you've got so much data and there's so much transparency with the internet now. You know where all the potential targets are, and they've called on all of them, and the local market's really stepped up. But we also have global sponsors. I mean, NetJets is a big sponsor now, and of course they know that you're a massive prospect for them.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yes, the Wolo family.
Let me tell you something. If I ever did win the lottery, that would be my first plaything. Would be NetJets, I promise.
I played golf with Brad Martin one time, and he told me, he said, the difference between flying private and cocaine, he said, if you try both of them, you can be cured of cocaine, but flying private, it's hard to wean off of that.
I hear you. I've always said there's wealth and there's airplane wealth.
Yes, sir.
You can differentiate
no doubt about
those two. All right, we're talking about all these positives and everything else.
Hey, I played golf, and yesterday we had a celebrity am. Every opportunity we have to raise money. It's the first time I've ever been away from this course during the tournament, but we went out to Spring Creek, and I played with Chris Webber.
Yeah.
The nicest gentleman I've ever met in sports. Just such a doll. Really fine guy.
You didn't ask him about that timeout in the NCAA championship game.
My brother said, you're going to, on one of his putts, going to call timeout, aren't you? And I said, yeah, I'll probably do that. But he was so nice, there's no way I could do that. He brought his dad, and I happened to have a few keys to the city left from the time when I was a chief administrative officer. So I brought one of those with me to give to Chris, but I opted to give it to his father instead. His dad had tears rolling down from his eyes because his father is born and raised in Tunica, Mississippi.
Oh, my goodness.
He's
Seriously?
got a great Memphis connection.
Chris Webber's dad was born in Tunica.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chris Webber's hands are as big as I've ever seen. The grips on his golf
like a bat.
Golf clubs are like a base, like a Louisville Slugger. Yeah. It's really cool.
Hank McDowell, the great Hank McDowell,
Yeah.
he's got the same thing. The grip on his golf clubs looks like it's a baseball bat.
Yeah.
It is incredible. What do you think is really going to happen here now with Liv? You're always honest. Your takes are always interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think in the long run is going to happen here? There was a big victory for the PGA round one here.
No question.
With the lack of a stay for the three, Gooch and Jones and Swafford.
You know, the great John Wilder, who was the lieutenant governor longer than anybody in the history of America, we would get in tough situations. I remember he would look me in the eye and he said, son, it will be all right. And I think this will be all right. There'll be some shakeout, certainly. They may find some common ground. But our mission here remains the same. We're here to raise money to fund the hospital that takes care of the sickest kids in the world. There is no shortage of fabulous golfers. There are golfers that are juniors and seniors in college right now that can outplay some of the pros that are here. Not here, but and around the world. And those fellows may decide. Most of them that have left to date have been sort of in the eighth inning of their careers. And I wish them well. Many of those gentlemen are friends of mine. Phil Mickelson was a huge help to me when this tournament, as you mentioned earlier, was sort of on the brink of irrelevance.
I go back, honest to goodness, and I'll never forget it, when the leaderboard looked like it was a Corn Ferry Tour, and the champion, we had to get your daughter.
My daughter Neely had to come down and translate for Fabian Gomez.
For Fabian Gomez, correct.
Right.
And I really didn't know if we would get back to the elite, but Phil Mickelson was a friend in those days.
Harrison Frazier was our champion one year. Harrison Frazier had written an article in the PGA Tour players have like a newsletter. They'd already printed it where he said goodbye. He was leaving the tour, but the week before was the Fort Worth tournament, and he played really, really well. And he told his caddy, he goes, heck, I probably ought to go to Memphis. He said, what do you mean probably? You're going to Memphis. He came here and he won, and people are like, who's Harrison Frazier? I said, he's our champ. And we were proud of him that day. But the Sunday morning, Phil Cannon and I were in the office. I'll never forget, he screamed. I jumped up and ran in like something was wrong. I said, what is it? And there was a new thing called Twitter. Yeah, I didn't know what it was. He said, Phil Mickelson just tweeted that he's coming to Memphis. But he hadn't told us. We didn't know yet.
Wow.
And that was, it was very helpful. And so I will never say anything pejorative about Phil. All I know is that there is a large group of great golfers that just haven't been introduced to the world yet. So I feel like, the PGA Tour has got some of the most skilled staff in the world. They know the game. They know the market. They understand the importance of charity. And I feel very confident that the PGA Tour will be strong for generations to come, and I'm proud to be their partner.
It's hard to do battle with a business plan that is no business plan.
Well, for somebody who has unlimited funds, I think the annual budget of the PGA Tour is about $1.5 billion. I played golf with an oil baron yesterday. He said that the Saudi Arabia, their company that produces oil, is the wealthiest company on the planet.
Right.
Their daily cash flow is
1.5. Correct.
Daily. So they got unlimited cash, and they could care less about profit and loss. But sooner or later, the prince is going to get bored. I'm through with golf. It's just like a very rich kid. You can give him 50 bicycles. He's tired of bicycles. No big deal. He might buy the NFL next. Who knows what happens? But at the end of the day, we have a purpose. We have a cause. And I think people will continue to rally around that, not just in Memphis, but the markets across America. PGA Tour has raised billions of dollars for wonderful causes in this country, and I feel confident that Americans will stand behind that.
How different will it be next year with those 70? And by the way, those 70 are the only 70 that keep their card, which they've accomplished a bunch if they get to Memphis.
You better believe it. And that's why this week is so important, because they're fighting like crazy to stay in that 70. They want to start the new season in that rank. Of course, they want to ultimately get to Atlanta and get that $20 million check, perhaps. But it'll be different. But our tea will be sweeter next year. So what do you know?
That's the way you always.
What
look
do
at
you
it.
know?
All right, so I have to ask you this. Normally, I have you either on Wednesday or Thursday as things are really starting to heat up.
Yes, sir.
Don't have that with you today because you've been too busy playing golf. By the way, I should tell everybody, Jack, who can now play the up tees, is a pretty darn decent golfer, and he can hit the ball a long way. You hit the ball over the water to how far on 18 on Wednesday?
I think I was about 135 in.
Oh, I thought you were
like
like 110, 115. I really did.
Yeah.
And then
Maybe
what-
so.
and-
Maybe so.
And then what happened?
Hit a long way. Hit in the morning. Yeah. What do you know?
You pulled it.
What do you
A little
know?
over the top.
Yeah, a little over
too
the
much
top.
pressure.
Yeah.
How did you guys finish?
We were in the middle of the pack. We were not. I called the carpenter and canceled the cabinet he was building for our trophy. Yesterday, though, we tied for first in the Celebrity Am.
Oh, wow. Who was your partner? Oh, Chris Webber.
Chris Webber.
Can he play?
He can hit it from here to the Peabody Hotel, but it might go by way of Frazier or
Right.
South Haven. It goes left and right, but he can really hit it a long way. But I played with a lot of celebrities, Wolo. He's maybe my all-time favorite.
Wow.
What a great guy.
That is fantastic.
And his dad is just such a sweetheart, too. They're fun people.
And now he's got a key to the city. All right, who wins this tournament? You see the leaderboard. I don't believe you're going to say Denny McCarthy. Could Thagila? Did you hear what I said earlier, by the way?
What's that?
Tony Finau has had 8 straight rounds on the tour, 68 or better.
Tony Finau's won 2 out of the 3 last 2 out of 3.
His last 2.
Yeah, he's a hot choice for the win, and there's 3 days left, so a lot can happen. I think John Rahm is
You're going with John Rahm.
I like John Rahm.
Last I saw John, I think was 3 under. Cut's 1 under, by the way.
Yeah.
Projected now.
Sure.
Could get crazy.
John, I played with him in the Pro-Am. He knows this course. He said, we were like on the first tee, and he said, 7, y'all replace the turf. And he knows it like he plays it every day. John is also a very generous contributor, and it's like Howard Stern would say, I'll only tell you, please don't tell anyone else.
Right.
But he doesn't ask that his name be, posted anywhere, but he's been a very generous supporter of St. Jude for a long time. And I love the guy, and I'm rooting for him. But I'm rooting for all these guys. I want them all to play well, and most importantly, I want them to have a wonderful time in Memphis and interact with the volunteers that are so passionate about our cause, that believe in our mission. And one of these pros may decide, hey, I'm going to do a little something extra for the kids at St. Jude. And that's how we get to $8.6 million last year is – that discretionary effort.
There's one time mingling with the kids and you fall in love. Look
Yes.
at Colin Morikawa this year. Went to Overton Park to do that little clinic. Said he had never really been a part of the whole thing.
Right.
And that changed his whole mind, his
Sure.
whole perspective.
Absolutely. For years we did the putt. It was like a putt at the hospital because of COVID that they can't go down to the hospital like they used to. But 6 years in a row, our winner came from the group that went downtown to the hospital and interacted with the kids. It was a little extra sauce there.
Well, that's one thing. We mentioned Phil, but Dustin Johnson, whether you like him or not or whatever you think,
Yeah.
the dude was given to St. Jude. I know that. I watched firsthand. There was some sort of a painting of him that he bid on like $20,000.
Yeah.
Just to beat everybody.
Sure.
That was like 10 years ago too.
So many of the players across the board over the years, Lee Trevino. Lee Trevino's in a charitable event. If you make a hole-in-one, it's a long hole-in-one, like 240 or something. You make the hole-in-one, you get $1 million. And it's far enough that, heck, I would have booked that action. Lee Trevino makes a hole-in-one, and he turns around and gives it to St. Jude.
He gave $1 million?
$1 million. And
how long ago was that?
You remember when we brought him in town? You were there when we had that banquet.
Yeah.
And we honored him.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 years ago. I had him for 3 days. And that was 2 storytellers at a car battling for who was going to tell the next story. It was.
I don't know who has more stories, you or Trevino.
It's a close race. It's really a close race. And Bert Bain, the general manager here at TPC Southwind, is close friends of Lee. They work together in West Virginia. And he said, I got to get you guys back together. I
I want to be in that group if that's the case.
Goodness.
I will say this. I brag about you all the time. How many times we play golf a bunch?
Yeah. With our the king of donuts over there on Mount Moriah, Brother Deweese.
Double D.
Double D.
I have played golf with you so many times, and you tell a different story on every tee box.
Pretty much.
And I've never heard you repeat a story in all those times.
Well,
that's how many stories you
Dave,
got.
there are only 18 holes. That's only 18 stories. That doesn't take much time.
No. I'm talking every time.
Every time.
I
love it.
Thank you, my friend.
God bless you,
We
brother. Thanks for
appreciate
being
it.
out here.
That
Love
is the man, Jack Sammons. He is brought to you in part by a guy who just doesn't play golf like Jack Sammons does. I can promise you that. I'm talking about Sheldon. So if you're thinking you're selling your home and one of your buddies may sell real estate, great golfer. Forget him. Get the worst golfer in town because he's the guy that spends more time selling your house, making his clients more money with that really great strategic marketing program. He does that instead of practicing golf. They call him Sheldon lost his ball again, Mr. 3-putt. But it's real simple. He's working for you. You want your house sold? You want the fairest price? Call 483-0546 or go to memphisrelocate.com. Munzie, Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal, the beat writer for the Tigers. Penny was out here just a couple of days ago. Jason Munz comes your way right here at Southwind in just a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey Mid-South, the end of summer is almost here. Kids are getting ready for the new school year, but I'll be left behind unless I get my rear in gear. Colin Johnston here from DeSoto Auto Sales, and I need your old ride. So if you bring your keys in, I'll help you end the season on a high note. You could get up to $4,000 more than Kelley Blue Book value for your old ride. So don't spend another minute in a car you hate. Trade up when you trade it in today. Even if you've had credit problems in the past, my For the People credit approval process works. So if driving your current car is getting old, bring your keys in and you could get the deal of the season. Up to $4,000 more than Kelley Blue Book value for your old ride. But hurry, offer ends at my end of season Keys In sales event. I'm Colin Johnston, your dealer for the people. See all the cars at DeSotoAutoSales.com. That's DESOTO Autosales.com.
Credit requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Trade-in condition determines actual trade allowance. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of the Kelley Blue Book Company Incorporated, which is not affiliated with DeSoto Auto Sales. Offer absolutely ends on August 31st, 2022.
Back to school shopping on a budget? Then Kohl's is the place to go. With the extra 20% off, I got my kids activewear for under $9 and jeans for $14.39. Plus, I found 2 for $20 character tees and got $10 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings? Check and check. Select styles, 20% offer ends August 14th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in here at the FESJC. Our title sponsors for this broadcast, Landers Ford and First National Bank and Trust. And so many guys we got to thank. Belly Acres, Barton Stone, Lucchese's, Mid-South Hobbies, Ronnie Grizzani's, Hilltop Liquors, Coletta's, Sleep Cheap, Olive Branch Motorsports, Jason's Deli with the best corned beef in town, Golf Sticks Pretzels, that comes from Old Waverly and Mossy Oak. If you haven't tried those, I promise you, take it from me, the best pretzels you've ever put in your mouth, and 10th Inning Sports Bar. And if you're thinking you're inspired to play golf this weekend after watching these pros, Miramichi, 330 acres of beauty, 7,400 yards of championship-level golf. Golf Week said a couple of years ago, if you're playing golf in the state of Tennessee, this is one golf course you've got to play. Now, I say 7,400 yards. I play about 6,300. You can go up to 5,000 yards. There's enough tee boxes to make it competitive for you. Afterwards, the Miramichi Terrace is gorgeous to just sort of look out at the 9th and the 18th and the sky and the ponds and the fountains. It's gorgeous, I promise. What a great experience. Miramichi, where when you go, great practice area, complimentary range balls. You'll love the whole experience at Miramichi. Jason Munz, it is always a pleasure to chat with you. How are you this morning?
Fantastic. How are you?
I am outstanding as well. Anytime I get to see you, it is great. I'm going to be seeing a lot of you. So you wrote a story, I guess it came out last night or today. Lomax is probably coming back. Is that what you're ascertaining from your little interview with Penny?
Yeah, that was certainly my takeaway. Biggest takeaway there was it was like he said so Penny kind of made it seem like it was still up in the air a little bit, but like he kind of said it with a smirk on his face.
Yeah.
And then he said, but I think he's leaning more toward coming back, but he hadn't made an announcement, so nothing's official. I'll let him have his moment in the sun. I don't want to upstage him. Like, that was the vibe that I got from Penny. And yeah, I mean, I still think that it's a 99.8% chance that Alex Lomax coming back. It's just we're all just kind of waiting on that official word from him.
So Alo would come back and have to accept the role as a backup point guard, isn't that true? And Kendrick Davis is going to be the man.
Yep. Yeah. No. Like there's no two ways about that. Like, he would be the backup, and he'd be probably the best backup point guard maybe in like most conferences. Maybe all of them.
Yeah.
Just because of what he brings. He brings, the great defense. He brings the leadership, the veteran experience, just sort of. I mean, like, a lot of people talk about the turnovers, and yes, he does turn the ball over a lot. But he also had some really nice assist numbers last year. I think he averaged 4, almost 5 a game last year, playing on a bum ankle. So if you take some of the pressure off of Alex Lomax, I think that might help in a lot of ways. Like, he doesn't, you could tell a lot of times that he is pressing out there on the court.
Well, you just think about the difference that Penny now has for practice alone.
Yeah.
With this group, Alo is his backup point guard. Everybody knows every drill. They know everything. They understand all the concepts. Whereas go back to Penny's second year when he had that great class of all those prospects, everybody was young. They didn't even know how to really practice in college basketball. Same thing for a little bit could have been said even last year.
Last year,
yeah, this is a total departure. So it will be kind of interesting. There was news that was made last week or this week, and that is Andy Borman, who is Mike Krzyzewski's nephew, who is going to be the third assistant, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think every I is dotted and every T is crossed. So I think until that happens, it's nothing's official. But I think we all understand that it's a formality at this point. It's all it is just making sure everything is kosher on the paperwork side. I don't think that's quite done yet, but
that's the expectation that Andy Borman's going to be the third assistant coach and join.
So for Raji Phillips is 2, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so where does that leave Sean Forrest? Where does that leave Larry Brown?
So my understanding is Sean Forrest is going to stay in the role that he's in. Special assistant to the head coach, I believe, is what it's called. And I mean, Penny said it himself yesterday morning that he expects Larry Brown to be back. We want him back, and he's been saying that all summer. I talked to Larry Brown a few weeks ago. He said similar things to me. I'm not very good at being.
So he'll come back as a consultant? He's not going to have the same role if the 3 assistant positions are slotted.
Yeah, he'd have to change roles. Obviously, there's not like an opening. The only openings he has left on his staff are the strength and conditioning coach. He's not going to be that. And the equipment manager.
Not going to be that.
No matter how many times
he did some of that last year.
Right. No matter how many times he unloads the bus and loads up the plane, I don't think that he's that. So my instinct is that part of the delay in this is they are working on figuring out a title. Like, I think they're going to probably create a position. If Larry wants to come back, I think they're going to create a position for him, and that's probably the hold up. What my gut tells me is that he wants to do everything except recruit, and so they got to figure out a way to, whether it be compliance, whether it be payroll, whatever. They got to figure out a way to get that done. That's sort of the mission right now.
Well, certainly that gets done. What an influence.
Giving Larry Brown, Frank Haith, Penny Hardaway, and Andy Borman, who's this guy who's been, he's got connections to Coach K, and he played at Duke. His uncle.
He was the executive director of one of the eyeball teams in New York, right?
Yep.
So I mean, maybe it's the cynic in me, but the first thing I think of is, okay, what players are going to come? I would not
call you a cynic in that thing. I think that's sort of the understanding here, is that he is a recruiting extraordinaire. He just so happens to have the number 1 player in the 2024 class, Naz Cunningham, on that roster. He played for him on the AAU circuit. Coincidence? We'll see.
Oh, and Penny Hardaway's younger son is now playing in school with Bronny, LeBron's son.
Correct.
What does that mean for the U of M?
We'll see. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. What was it? It was at Peach Jam when Penny was out in South Carolina doing his scouting and all that sort of stuff, and he kept showing up at Bronny James games. I don't think it's any coincidence that his son.
Wow. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine how many TV games they'd be interested if you got a Hardaway and a James together?
We thought it was crazy with James Wiseman. Then we thought it was crazier with Imani Bates. You ain't seen nothing yet. If Penny Hardaway gets Bronny James to join a team, like, let's say, for instance, they make the back-to-back NCAA tournament team, and here comes Bronny James. Maybe Larry Brown sticks around. You got Penny Hardaway, Bronny James, Larry Brown.
It'll be a circus like 08 with Calipari.
Yeah, it'll be something. It'll be something.
Last thing, we haven't had a chance to discuss this, and that is the schedule that we already have.
Yeah.
Only 3 bye games, and I could make the case it's really 1.
Yeah, Alabama State with Tony Madlock and TJ Madlock, they're going to be a good team.
They got TJ and they got Amari Knox, right? The kid from Bartlett.
Yes.
Who's a good player.
They got Knox, who was originally committed to Memphis.
Right.
So you've got some intrigue there, some connections there, and on top of it, they're going to be a pretty good team. It's not a cupcake schedule by any stretch of the imagination. We could say. A lot unlike Houston. Houston, I don't know if you saw their non-conference schedule. They got 2, what I would call tough games, and the rest are not so great. So great. Yeah. So they're not leaving. Houston's not leaving themselves much margin for error. They better not lose more than 1 game they shouldn't lose in conference. Memphis, by scheduling Vandy, by scheduling St. Louis, by scheduling Alabama. Who else?
Auburn.
Seton Hall is on the schedule for sure. Auburn. By scheduling all those games.
A&M.
Yeah, Texas A&M at home. Ole Miss, like they are scheduling the way they need to schedule based on the conference.
You know what? I go back to a long ways. You know, I'm an old guy. But Denny Crum was the first coach I really saw who embraced, and TV was relatively taken over at that time, and he wanted TV games. But his philosophy was, I'm going to schedule all these tough games now. I know I'm making the tournament. I'm going to schedule these games because I want my guys playing tough competition, so when it's really on the line, they'll know what it's all about. That's what this schedule will do for Penny's team.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, like, you're doing it with a roster that can handle it. You in theory, they can handle it. Like, Emmanuel Acott's coming from Boise State. He's been to the NCAA tournament. He's been deep, a nice run in the NIT the year before. Kendrick Davis has been through a lot at SMU. Keontae Kennedy is coming from UTEP, played a long time. So, like, you would think DeAndre Williams obviously is back on this roster. So you would think that this roster can handle a nice gauntlet to start the season, and I feel like that's probably part of the reason Penny did this, is because he feels like this group can handle it.
Great prep schedule. All right, you're here not to talk Tigers sports for the commercial appeal. You're here for golf.
Yeah.
What's your favorite storyline that you're going to be writing about?
So, as we sit here today, at this moment, as the gala, the rookie.
That's my guy, by the way.
The rookie.
I picked him as my shock.
From Pepperdine.
Yeah.
He's making the turn, tied for the lead.
Right, 9 under.
Yeah, so I was out on number 9 late yesterday when he was finishing up, and I actually got a chance to talk to his father and his father's good friend who are in town. His golf coach from Pepperdine is here. His mother's here. Like, he's got a big contingent, like a big cheering section here in Memphis. So I'm looking forward. I hope he continues to play well, because I'm actually going to, when I leave here, I'm going to go to number 10 or 11, wherever he's at now, and sort of follow the.
I'm going to go try to follow him when I'm done here, too, so I'll find you along the way.
Cool.
Here's, I think, what a great story about him. Correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I'm almost certain I'm right. He was a guy who had a tournament won earlier this year.
Travelers.
At the Travelers, and tried to get too much out of a trap, and ended up back in the trap, and that cost him 2 shots.
Yes.
It cost him the tournament, and yet here he is. He's overcome that. If you listen to him, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
What a great guy to follow. I'm really pulling for him.
Now, yesterday was cool. I got to follow Ricky Fowler for a a bit.
That's he's the greatest round. Ricky Fowler has not had a top 20 this year. That is clearly his best round in a couple of years.
So it's his best round since October of 2021, almost a year. He shot a 63 last October. But he's a big name. But he hasn't won anything since.
Let me just tell you this, Ricky Fowler, and I don't know him from Adam. I bet he's a nice guy, but he's gotten more out of less than any player I've seen. It's all because he's a good-looking kid. When he came up, he had that hair, and all the teenage girls loved him.
Yeah.
And all these companies wanted that guy.
Yep.
And so he's gotten a lot out of he's had a Players Championship. He did win that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other tournaments he's won.
I think he's won. I think he's won 5 in his career.
5 in his
career
on
the PGA Tour,
which is solid. I mean, it's good.
Right, that's fine.
He's a PGA Tour player. No doubt about that. But not to the extent of the endorsements he gets.
Right.
And that's all because of the looks. I'd like to see a little more substance from Ricky Fowler.
But yeah, it was cool. Yesterday he shot a 65. Again, his best round in almost a year. So that was kind of a neat thing to see him sort of. We talked to him afterward. He said he played a putter for the first time ever. The putter that
we got used. A new caddy too.
New
first
caddy,
time he's using a caddy.
New caddy, new putter, and he said he came into this tournament with nothing to lose, because he was 1 slot away from not even making it here.
Oh, I know.
He was
Mr.
Lucky. 125.
He was lucky to get in. There's no question. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Man, I'm going to go find you. I'm going to go look for Thigala as soon as the show is over.
Let's do it.
All right, you got it. Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. He's brought to you in part, and I know he loves this stuff. It's the Poppy's Pilsner. Poppy's Pills. That's the Pilsner from Grind City. Just what the doctor ordered. Light, crisp. This is a Pilsner that is best enjoyed ice cold. It's refreshing, and it's made right here with Grind City. It's available all over town in 6-packs, or you want to go crazy, Go for a 15-pack. You'll love it. It's everywhere around Memphis. It's Memphis' own from Grind City. It's the Pilsner everybody's talking about. It's Poppy's Pills. And this portion of our show is brought to you by Conway. Conway's Tune-Up. Everybody knows about the famous 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up, which in the summer you get a free on leak check, and when they go and they get all the dirt and grime and leaves out of your outside units, they put a little Teflon coating to protect that. They're always about protecting. They're always about making your system efficient, because when it's efficient, and if you get 2 tune-ups a year, it will stay that way. Your system lasts longer, and your MLGW bill, it goes down. Hey, call the best. 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. To Chicago we go momentarily. Our agent from Priority Sports, that would be Andy Schiffman. He's right around the corner.
You have opinions? Uh-huh. Of course you do. Everyone does. Hit us up on the AutoZone listener line. 360-8255. 360-8255.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior, complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boost on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with the promo code HAPPY so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code HAPPY. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the week for me. Hey, I just saw a guy from Riverbend. This is not a commercial, but Riverbend, if you haven't played that golf course in a while, the superintendent that came from North Creek and I think for Wedgwood for a while too, he's unbelievable. He has redone that golf course. It looks fantastic. Final segment brought to you in part by the Eflin Insurance team. You know, Matt and his team, well, they do it a different way. They collaborate. They'll get to know you and your family for the right home program, auto program, life insurance. He gets to know you and what's important to protect and what your budget is. Same thing with midsize and small businesses, commercial insurance. He forecasts out for you and protects all the assets you think are important now and in the future. They do it a different way. Big Tiger supporter, too, in his Phone number, 901-386-4777. That 4777 stands for GER because he's a big Tiger guy. That's the Eflin Insurance team. To Chicago we go, our agent from Priority Sports. That would be Andy Shipman. We haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. The news came out this week, and I love this. I really do. I think this is one of the greatest moves that the NBA has ever made. They yesterday made the decision to retire Bill Russell's number into perpetuity. They will never issue the number 6 for any of the 30 NBA teams again. If a guy has number 6 right now, he gets to keep it till he retires. But there will be no more issuing of the number 6 around the league. It belongs to Bill Russell forever. Andy, I love it.
No, I do too, Dave, and it's good to speak with you again. I think it's a great move by the NBA. Obviously, you've seen Major League Baseball do that with Jackie Robinson years ago, and I think for Bill Russell to kind of be the first NBA athlete, NBA player to have this, it's very, very much warranted. Obviously, it's tragic news that hits the NBA community pretty hard, losing a legend like that. But, again, I never had the pleasure or the good fortune to watch Bill Russell play, but I love the fact that obviously with the way the world is today, you can watch enough of him out there on social media, et cetera. And how much, what I love most about him, Dave, how much of an ambassador he still was for the game. He was at all of these events, very much involved with the players' union, with the league. It seems like players across the board in today's NBA all have stories to share with their interactions with Bill Russell. You don't really get that a lot in many other legends like that. And I love how involved he was still in the game. So I think it's a great move by the NBA.
When you think about it, I mean, he was a fighter for civil rights, and he was willing to put his own safety, his own securities, actually, when he was a player, on the line for the rights of his people. He was the very first African-American head coach of any professional league in America, which is amazing. He became a terrific analyst at the network level.
Yep.
Everything he did with class, and he did with a great deal of skill and accomplishment. And you couldn't ask for a better representative of your league or of your sport than Bill Russell. This is totally – I hadn't planned on really talking with you about this, but you're a Cubs guy, I know. I thought yesterday, speaking of legends, the two Griffeys, Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr., walking out of the cornstalk in the Field of Dreams game, that was beautiful. And then they reenacted the line that Kevin Costner used in the movie with, I guess it was Ray Liotta.
Playing Joe
Ray Liotta.
Jackson.
Well, let's just play catch.
That.
I mean, that was cool, wasn't it?
I love baseball, and I watched that game, and they did a nice tribute. Kevin Costner did to Ray Liotta, and they kind of re-showed that clip, and seeing Griffey and seeing legends like that was awesome. I wish I would have the opportunity to go to one of those Field of Dreams games, because if you're a baseball fan, it's just, 3 hours of just pure baseball, just like at its core. It was awesome to watch.
Oh, yeah, it really was. Okay, off-season kind of. This is probably the slowest time period for golfers, for NBA players who play a lot of golf.
Not for golfers.
Chris Webber was Chris Webber was just here playing in the Celebrity Pro-Am. And I know a lot of NBA players now come out, including your Salty Aldama, who played at Miramichi a few weeks ago. They get out and play. What's going on in the NBA? What do you do at this time?
Well, what I do right now, obviously, we're keeping tabs. I'm keeping tabs on all 30 NBA teams and their rosters, because I still have a handful of players who are free agents who we're trying to get full guaranteed deals for. We're trying to get two-way opportunities for, trying to get them into training camp with an opportunity to make a roster on a non-guaranteed contract. And so right now, like you said, Dave, everything's kind of on hold, and there's a scarcity of roster spots. There are many teams that already have full rosters that before the season starts, they're going to actually have to cut some players, and Memphis is one of those teams as well, so they just don't have spots. And other teams feel like they could be in the mix if and when a Kevin Durant trade happens, or a Russell Westbrook trade happens, or a Miles Turner trade, or a Donovan Mitchell trade. So a lot of these teams are kind of in a holding pattern until they figure out if these players will be moved or not. That will impact their roster. For example, if Utah moves Donovan Mitchell somewhere, they're very likely to just try to get back as many assets and future draft picks as they can. And then you'll see Utah kind of in a rebuilding phase, really developing their young players and just kind of going that route like Memphis was a few years ago for the next season or so. So I'm keeping tabs on all that and making sure my players are ready in case some teams want to bring them in to work out, kind of an audition for a team or for training camp. And then on the European side, that season is about to kick off. They're training, on what country you're in. It starts this month. So making sure all of my players going overseas are off to good starts. Guys are already over there. Some guys are leaving this week, next week. Still have some offers we're working on for some of our guys and some deals we're working on. So that has really kind of come down to almost like the end of free agency a little bit in Europe, whereas in the NBA, as I mentioned, it slowed down drastically. At the end of the day, look, there's 30 teams. So you can only call 30 general managers so many times about your players. And so, you just kind of have to be as proactive as you can on top of the news and transactions and moves and try to anticipate any moves that might be happening and just really making sure our guys are ready.
Any local stories, any local guys you're pushing for?
Well, with the Grizzlies, like I mentioned, they are full right now. Been staying in touch with Zach and the staff throughout the summer, obviously. There is the possibility still, up until the start of the season roughly, of a Brandon Clark extension, and we've had communication with Zach on that. Really kind of nothing to report on that at this time. Santi Aldama is over in Spain working out with, I believe, Zaire Williams is over there with him, and some of the Grizzly staff is over there with him as well, which is great. They're trying to get some other guys healthy. And then, no, other than that, I love having guys in Grizzlies uniforms, but right now they just kind of have, I think, one too many players on their roster. So they're going to have some decisions to make by the time we get to cut-down date starting the season. So really not a whole lot to do with the Grizzlies right now just because they're full.
He's Andy Schiffman. He's our agent. Remind me next week we'll talk about the Kevin Durant debacle in Brooklyn. We'll get to that another time.
He might be in for Jersey by that time next week.
You're right. He could very well be for certain. Andy, thank you. Have a great week, and we'll chat next Friday.
All right. Thanks, Dave. You too.
Andy Schiffman, brought to you in part by the good folks at the Spirit Shop. Eddie Connor was standing right in front of me in this spot yesterday. What a good guy. Hey, man, I tell you what, they're all worried about these break-ins, crazy stuff happening. But you got to support your local guys, don't you? You really got to. If you're getting ready for the weekend, it's going to be a great weekend out here, but you're going to watch it on TV. You got parties that surround it. You got to go see my guy, Eddie Connor at the Spirit Shop, Poplar and St. Nick. He's got everything local. He's got everything you could possibly want, from valued bourbons to vodkas that might be absolutely bargain, to the great wines, to the middle range, to the ones that are up and coming that are really going to be valuable 5 years from now. Go get an education and get a good deal on spirits at the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. One last time this year, we thank Landers Ford and First National Bank and Trust, our title sponsors. Belly Acres, Barton Stone, Lucchese's, Mid-South Hobbies, Ronnie Grizzani's, Hilltop Liquors, Coletta's, Sleep Cheap, Olive Branch Motorsports, Jason Deli, Golf Stick Pretzels, and 10th Inning Sports Bar for allowing us to be out here at the Hub. If you get a chance, come out and watch the top 125 golfers in the world. It's going to be fun all weekend long here at Southwind. J-Mo and company, they come your way in just 1 minute, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you on Monday.